pieces that. Hello and welcome to this video where I will give you a few tips on how to assemble the D20 dice bag. This is a pattern that I sell in my Etsy shop, and I just wanted to add a few tips and tricks on how to assemble this in maybe the easiest way. So as you can see, I have all these pieces that all make up one of the D20 dice bags. Now there are a few things you can prepare in advance before starting to put this together, and one of them is that the top pieces that are going to make up the actual openable part of the D20 dice bag, I strongly recommend that you prepare them by sewing the edges before doing anything else, because when you put this together you might just be into the sewing and might actually start to sew these two parts together when they instead should be able to be opened. So just to avoid that, sew the edges before you do anything else. Don't do this last, because you might just be so used to sewing pieces together that you might end up doing that, and that is just annoying. Another thing you can do that I haven't done here is you can attach the eyelets. So do that first, because it is easier before you assemble everything. Now, the second tip is something that might help you a bit more than the first one. Is that I think you should prepare the pieces in 3 parts and sew them together in these 3 ways as well. So, if we have a look at the D20 dice bag, you might feel a bit intimidated by how you should go about putting this together. It is actually quite simple, because you can basically see that when you have a look at the D20, it is essentially 3 different sections. It has a top, a middle part that goes around all like this, and then you have a bottom. Now, to assemble this in the easiest way, I think you should start by putting the bottom pieces together, because then you can add the middle, so that you essentially have a bowl, basically, looks like this without the top, and then you can finally add the top pieces. So by doing this, you don't really have to reach into the D20 dice bag once you have started sewing it, because you, for example, end with the bottom, it might be difficult to tie everything off and find the holes and such. So instead, just start with the bottom and build your way up. So because of that, I think you should start off with the pieces that are going to be the bottom. Now, if you want to assemble this like a normal D20, then these are the pieces that should be at the bottom. Not in this order, however, so have a look at a D20 or this dice bag, for example, like this. Or you can just have a look at a 3D model or whatever else you may find. If you do want to just put this together any way you want, go ahead, take whatever pieces that you want, but start off with 5 of them. So if you start off by having a look at the bottom, if I were you, I would just start off with one of them, doesn't matter which one, and start putting them together with a cross stitch like this. And then, once you have, for example, the 7 and the 17 together, you can add the 3 to the 17. For example, if you do from the top, which is the top right here, sew it down, add the 3 to the 17, and then you can add the 19 to the 3 by doing this stitch. Just to avoid maybe cutting off the thread so many times, you can add the 9 to the 19 if you want to, just to get to this point, where you add the 1 to the 19, like this. And then you can put the 1 and the 7 together, and you have the bottom. Maybe with the 9, for example, attached. Doesn't really matter, because you're going to start by adding the middle part now anyways. So once you have the bottom all put together, you can start by, whatever way you want, adding the entire middle section, which is going to be made up out of 10 pieces. Not in this configuration if you want it to look like a regular proper D20. So don't look at this video the way that they're laying right now. Instead, have a look at a D20 or a 3D model, or this D20 right here. So for example, 17 to 10, and you can add it like it looks in this video. And There we go. 17 to 10 again. Now, once that is done, and you have attached the bottom to the middle, or the middle to the bottom, depending on how you look at it, you can start off by simply adding the top 5 pieces. And once that is done, you have a completed leather D20 dice bag, which will be awesome. So, just these few tips might actually help you create your D20 dice bag a bit easier. So I hope that this was helpful, and yeah, I hope that your D20 dice bag turns out great. Keep crafting. You're awesome. Thank you. Goodbye.